Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. So I titled this. I decided to title this "Continue to Pray for Satan. He is your only hope." Now, and that's because I'll get right to it. Get right into it, right? That's because a lot of people knowingly, right, or unknowingly are praying for Satan. They're praying for Satan, right? Let's be honest, right? And you say, well, why is that? I'm gonna show you, right? I'm gonna show you. See, you think that's a representation of God, right? Your God, your Messiah. Well, not God, but some people say God, but they don't know what they're talking about. But you think that's your Messiah, right? That's a representation of your Messiah that's in the Bible. It's not, right? I'm also gonna go over the prophecy of Ezra, the most powerful prophecy in the Bible, in my humble opinion, right? One of the most powerful prophecies, or the most powerful prophet, prolific, powerful, and timely prophet, that if you're living right now and you claim to be a so-called follower of Christ the Messiah, right? You're waiting on the Messiah for salvation to come and to save you from and deliver you from the clutches of the Antichrist, Satan, the devil, right? And you haven't read the book of Ezra, you haven't read the prophecies, then you don't know what's going on, right? And the Lord ain't gonna deal with you, right? You're probably praying to the Antichrist, Satan, right? You probably have this picture on your wall, and you think that's the Messiah. You say, well, this is the Messiah, right? This is Jesus. And Jesus Christ is not a name, it's a title. It means anointed messianic figure, right? So it's not anybody's name, but I'll play along. I play along with that, for the stupid people. I'm not even gonna be polite anymore. For stupid people, I'm gonna just play along, right? Now, so because you can easily read the book of Revelations and figure out that's not a representation of Jesus Christ. So if you haven't, then you're just stupid. I'm not even going to be nice to you anymore, right? If you haven't read, you claim, I'm a Christian, here's my Bible, look at my crosses, right? And you haven't read the Bible and read the description. And people say, like I see debates, and they'll say, well, why does it matter? I'm going to show you why it matters, right? It matters because the Bible talked about a great deception of the people. That's why it matters. And this is the great deception, right? That's actually, I'm going to get into it, but I'm going to just go over a couple of things. That's actually the real, if people say, I pray to Jesus Christ, well, you're praying to Satan. And here's a picture of Satan on your screen. Hopefully you can see that, right? That is a picture of Satan as described, right, in the Bible. And you said, well, like I had a conversation with my somebody in my family, let me just say, and they hadn't read the whole book of Ezra, and I said, well, you need to read if you claim to be a Christian, and you're a follower of the Messiah, you're waiting on the Messiah for salvation, then you need to read the book of Ezra and the prophecy of Ezra. And they said, well, I don't need to read that, I don't care. I was like, well, there's a description of the Antichrist in there. Well, I don't care about that, I don't need that. Well, it's a warning, right? Well, how are you going to know what you're looking for if you don't read it, right? They really weren't concerned, you see. But this is a picture of the Antichrist as described by the Bible, right? And you want to see another picture? Let me show you another one. So let's just get to that. Let's talk about a representation in the Bible of the Antichrist. That's one, right? Let me show you another one. This is a representation. So when I see a cross, let me get right into it. When I see a cross, what's the first thing I know? Because I've studied these occult things. What do I know when I see a cross? If I see you with a cross on, I know that you're probably a pretty uninformed person. You're pretty ignorant, right? Why? A cross is a sign of the Antichrist, right? I know that you're praying for Satan, right? So continue to pray for Satan. See, a lot of you people, that's why the Bible said 2/3 of the Lord of hosts, who you call Jesus Christ, right? That's a title. Lord of hosts is also one of his titles, right? He said, I'm going to put most of the people on the earth to death. And I used to think that was crazy until I understood. Until I understood what he was saying. You see, you have to be intuitive. You have to have intuition when you read these occult books. And the Bible is an occult book. It's not for everybody, right? If you don't have intuition, right, you don't have any sense of intuition and real intelligence that's given to you by intuition, you're not gonna understand the Bible. You're gonna be worshiping and praying to Satan. So continue to pray for Satan, but now the time is short, so it will be to your detriment. See, like 50 years ago you could do it. It doesn't matter. You would just drop dead eventually from old age, right? But now you're living in the age of karma, and so you're gonna have to pay for the things you've done. You're not gonna die of old age. Don't worry about that. That's not what you need to worry about, right? Unless you just drop dead, right? Have a heart attack or a stroke or get hit by a car, okay. But generally, if you're in good health and you're gonna be alive for the next few years, you're not gonna die of old age if you're like an older person. If you're like 40, like I'm 30, 40, 50, whatever, right? 60, 70, you're probably not gonna die of old age, but you are gonna die of something else, right? Now, when you see a cross, when I see a cross, what do I know? When I see a cross, I know that you're praying. You're not praying to the Lord of hosts. Why? Crosses are biblical. A cross is a sign of Satan. A cross is a sign of the Antichrist. A cross is the sign of the devil. Call it what you want, but you know what I'm talking about. Kinda. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. I learned, don't give people too much credit. For real, I give people way too much credit. Now I'm not gonna give them any at all. When you see a sign to me, when I see a cross, I know that you pray to Satan. Whether you say unknowingly or knowingly, you're praying to Satan. You pray to the Antichrist because crosses aren't biblical, right? But you're probably very like what they say, you have a fervor and a zest for that cross. You got to put it on your clothes, put it on your jewelry, not realizing you're stamping yourself with the stamp of the Antichrist, with the stamp of Satan. A cross is a representation of Satan, right? The same way a swastika is a representation of Satan. The armies of Satan. You say, well, how do I identify the armies of Satan? Well, generally the armies of Satan will be, now I'm not saying everybody knows. What I'm talking about is occult knowledge, right? We're dealing with the occult right now, right? What does that mean? A hidden understanding of symbols, right? And writings, right? So that's occult. Doesn't mean, witchcraft or anything. It just means hidden, right? So now I'm going to deal with the hidden meanings of things, symbology, right? And then I'm going to read the text to back it up and show you. So when you see a swastika, what are you seeing? A representation. These are the armies of the Antichrist. Nazis are the army of the Antichrist. You see? And all Nazis don't wear swastikas. Some of them have KKK uniforms. Some of them have swastikas. Some of them have Ukrainian army uniforms. Some of them have American flags. Some of them have crosses on, but generally you'll see things like this. You'll see a swastika, or you may see a cross, or you may see them both together, like in the United States, right? You know, a stronghold of Satan, where they pray to Satan on Sunday, right? Which is Saturn. It's not the Sabbath. The Sabbath is Saturday. It's not, according to the Bible, it's not Sunday, which makes sense if you understand the occult, right? So, and so, what was that? They pray. So when you see, when you see these symbols like the cross and the swastika. So for instance, like the KKK, this is a satanic Luciferian group who prays. See, everybody doesn't have the same God. The God of the actual Bible and the God of the people in the KKK are two different gods. Their God is Satan. See, so they're praying continuously for Satan. You see, the people with swastikas and crosses, see, they have swastikas and crosses. You say, well, how is it that the KKK can have a swastika and a cross, and then what do they do, right? What is the ritual they do to honor Satan? Well, they will kill a Negro in front of a cross as a sacrifice, and then they light the cross on fire. Now, you'll say, they say, well, that's Jesus, right? The cross, Jesus Christ. What does that have to do with the Bible? What does killing a black man, right, in front of a cross, hanging him or torturing him, stabbing him to death, shooting him, and lynching him in front of a cross, and then taking gasoline and lighting that cross on fire have to do with the Bible? Not a goddamn thing. So what does it have to do with? What is that about? See, nobody ever asked that question. You see, no one thinks about that. Well, except people like me, weirdos like me, right? They're doing it because they're praying to their God. It's a sacrifice to their God. You see, who is Satan, the Antichrist. Because crosses don't have any. You can have all the crosses you want, I guess, if you're a Satanist, right? If you worship Satan, if you're a follower of the Antichrist, because it's not biblical. It has nothing to do with the Bible, and particularly lighting them on fire and killing people in front of a cross has nothing to do with the Bible. I mean, do I have to tell you this? Is that something you have to say? But in America, you do have to say that, right? Because America is an open air asylum full of crazy people with degrees. I don't even know, where the fuck are you getting these degrees for and from? Because you can't think for yourself, so I don't even understand it. I don't have a degree, but at least I know this. And a whole lot of other stuff. But now, so what does a cross, you think about it, what does a cross have to do? You know, you see these groups like the KKK. So they got a cross and they got a swastika, right? And they're killing people, and then they're burning the cross up, screaming white power. That's a Nazi, you see? But the Nazis also are Satanists. But they claim to be Christian, and they're burning the cross. That cross has nothing to do with Christians. Not those. See, so it's double speak. When they say Christians, they're talking about something else. You see? Because there's two kinds of Christians. Christians are a race of people that descend from the bloodline of Jacob, who became Israel, changed his name, and begat ancient 12 bloodlines of people. Right? They would be called the race of the Christians by Ezra, right? One of the most holy prophets, right? Now, these Christians they're not Christians. They don't descend from a race of people. You see? They don't descend from the 12 bloodlines of Jacob, whose name changed to Israel, right? These are not the children of God, as they say in the Bible, right? These are the people that burn crosses and wear swastikas. These are Nazis. You see, the Nazis is a follower of Satan. The Nazi. So when you see a cross, right? What are you seeing? A representation of someone who worships the devil. You see, but you just don't. A lot of times people don't know it, right? I see people all the time. They so proud. They got their cross on and their Bible, missing books out of the Bible, all kinds of shit, all kinds of filth, right? And they got their. And I'm looking at them like, you motherfuckers are out of your mind. You do know that, right? A cross has nothing to do with the fucking Bible. Matter of fact, crosses are outlawed in the Bible. You do know that, right? You know, shut up, don't tell me. They'll be like, shut up. Yeah, crosses are outlawed. So if that's the case, what the fuck are you doing with a cross on? And what are you worshiping, right? With this cross and these swastikas and all that, right? Because a cross and a swastika is pretty much the same thing. It's a representation of Satan. I know you don't understand. So let's get into it, right? I mean, but if you can't figure that out by studying the KKK, right? Then what the fuck, how? I mean, what the fuck? How? What? I don't understand what could really wake you up. If you understand that when you see the KKK with swastikas and crosses and then burning crosses, that's a representation of something other than having to do with the Bible, you can't figure that out. That doesn't strike a nerve. That doesn't make you think, what's up with that? But anyway, let's move on, right? But when you see people with crosses and swastikas, that's their God on the screen that they're praying to. You see? That's the Jesus Christ that they're praying to. See, and you have to understand that Jesus Christ is a title. That's the Messiah, the anointed Messiah that they're praying to. In his true form, right? That's what Ezra was trying to fucking tell you 2,000 years ago when he put it in basically almost a cult secret prophecy. It's like an open secret, right? Ezra was trying to warn you of what was coming, right? Because it was complex at a certain level. You see? And he knew, and it was going to be a great deception, as it says in the Bible. I'm not going to go through every quote. You should understand some of these quotes that I'm quoting. But that's the actual Jesus Christ. So when you see a cross and a swastika, and you see these people burning crosses and doing sacrifices, killing black people in front of these crosses, that's the God they're praying to. That's the Messiah, I'm sorry. Because Christ's not a God. He's a Messiah. That's two different things. Right? There's the Most High God, force, and then there's the Messiah, who you call Jesus Christ, which is not a name but a title. They're two different things, right? Matter of fact, there's three entities. I'm not even going to get into all of that. But in the Bible, there's three. There's Jesus Christ, right? There's the Ancient of Days, who I believe is probably his father, his physical, biological father or grandfather, that's written in the Bible. He's referred to as a very ancient figure, who I believe is related to him in the text. I gotta go back and look at that. And then there's the Most High God. These are the three figures in the Bible that they don't really talk about. They try to tell you, it's the Trinity, and all this bullshit that's not even in the Bible. The Ancient of Days is in the Bible. He's an older figure than Christ. He's an older figure who's probably way above Christ. Probably his great grandfather or somebody like that. And then in that bloodline, then there's the Messiah you call Christ, who's bringing the army to earth. So those are two different figures. And then above them, there's when he says God, the Most High. Now we're dealing with a force, something that doesn't have a body at a certain level, right? So, but anyway, so I digress. Let me get back on track. So when they talk about God, this is their God, right? And you say, well, how do I know this? How do I know this is the God of the people with the cross? When I see a cross, that's the first thing I think of, their God, right? Well, it's easy. When I see this picture, right? Now that's the occult, that's the open image of him. But Ezra said this was going to be the hidden image. That's what he looks like for real. So when you pray to this, when you got this up in your church, what are you representing, right? You're representing this. It represents this. Knowingly or unknowingly, right? You're representing Satan, the devil, the Antichrist. Whether you know it or not, it doesn't matter. And in the end, like I said, you're not going to die of old age, a lot of people, at this point in time, right? Judgment, you're going to be judged. You see, you're going to be judged for this. You're going to be judged for your swastikas and your crosses, which is the same as a swastika, right? When you are gathered up. See, in the Bible, several times it says the people shall be gathered up. When you gathered up, why is he going to gather you up? He's going to gather you up to inspect you, right? It says that like maybe at least 4 times I can think of off the top of my head. The people will be gathered up, right? It says it in Matthew. It says it in, I believe, Revelations. It says it in Joel, right? Why is he gathering these people? He's gathering them for judgment. You have to be inspected and judged, right? Why? Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you're his people and you're wearing crosses, well, we can go that way. If you're his people and you're wearing crosses and you got a picture, you got this picture up, right? And you are prescribed to the ideology that comes along with that, which is a Nazi satanic ideology, you have to be judged according to the law. As simple as that. And this is a man who is not going to waver from the law. You see, and so judgment has to happen to you. You have to be judged for your cross, right? Because you were warned many times. A lot of you have been warned, and you not only were you warned, you in the back of your mind knew what you were doing, but you said, "Fuck it." You know what? I'm gonna die of old age. I'm not gonna get judged for this. I'm going to go to heaven and then I'm going to get forgiven. Whatever they tell people. The shit that they tell you all your life that's wrong. Right? So you say, well, it's okay. I can put these pictures up. I can put this cross on. Right? I can walk around with my Jesus piece. It's okay. Right? All representations of Nazis and Satan, which are his foot soldiers. Why are you going to be judged for that? And what I mean is, when I say judgment, there will be judgment. You see? And there is no more forgiveness for your sins. Meaning you have broken the law with these crosses. You've broken the law with your allegiance to Satan. You have to be judged for that. You have to pay for that. You see? You have to pay for that. There will be no ghetto passes given out, right? You're going to be made to pay. Because you were warned, right? I'm going to show you that in a minute. You were warned. The Bible, you know what Ezra called the Bible? A dreadful threatening. You see? Ezra called the Bible a dreadful threatening. You see, to the enemies of the Most High God. You see? So you were given a dreadful warning, but you decided, you know what you said to yourself? You said, well, come on, man. I mean, look at this white man. He's here killing all these niggers and Indians, bombing shit all over the world. No, nothing happens to him. I'm hanging out with these people, these Nazis and stuff, right? I'll be fine. That Bible shit ain't real. Give me a cross. Let me put this cross on. You know what I mean? I'm gonna, I'll put a dress on. I'm a man. I'll put a dress on. Where's a cross? Right? Anything goes. Right? Just anything goes. Right? I'll burn a cross. Be a swastika. I'll hang out with some Nazis. Right? Anything goes. Everybody's my friend. Right? There are no rules anymore. You got judge. You have to be judged. You see? You have to be judged by a righteous judge, as the Bible says. And this man is a righteous judge. You see? So all of that has to be paid for. And it's a dreadful judgment. That's why in the Bible he says, 2/3 of my own people shall be cut off and die. You think it's a joke? Until the time comes. That's why I said you're not going to die. Most of the people are not going to. See, most of the people are praying against the Bible. See, these people with crosses on, they know that. Some of them know they've read these verses and they ignore them, right? Why? They're praying against the Bible. These wicked niggers are praying against the Bible. You see? The real Bible, not the satanic verses. Not the satanic Bible, or the Catholics and the Mormons and these other groups, all these Nazis, right? See, you're praying against the Bible. You're praying against the prophecies, right? So you can fornicate with the devil. You have to be judged for that. You have to be judged for the wicked intentions in your heart. You see? The I'll get away spirit. That you see, that's a satanic spirit. I'm gonna get away. I'll just die of old age. Nothing gonna happen, right? YOLO, you only live once, right? There has to be judgment. You see, or so these people pray against the Bible. They pray that the prophecies don't come true. They pray against Ezra. When Ezra said that the Bible is a dreadful threat, these people are praying against that and praying for Satan. They say, please God, please, don't let this come true. Don't let the prophecy of Ezra come true. Right? Don't let the prophecy of Joel come true. Please God, don't let the book of Revelations come true. Please God. I hear him all the time. When I watch like videos and they say, pray, oh, you see some white people in there or something, right? Some heathen. Oh Lord, we got to pray for the protection of America. We got to pray for the protection of Ukraine. We got to pray for the no destruction happens, and we got to pray for this and pray for that. Who the fuck you praying to? Because the Bible that's not biblical, what you're talking about. You're praying against judgment. How the fuck is that possible? Unless you're praying to another God. You couldn't be praying to the God of Joel, the God of Ezra, the God or the Messiah. You couldn't be praying to the God of Joel, the God of Ezra, the God of John from Revelations. You see? There's no way you could. These men pray for judgment. You see? So who the fuck are you praying for? Who are you praying to and praying for? Would be the question. With your cross on. You see? You're praying to Satan and you're praying against the Bible. And you are a wicked individual. Unrepentant. That needs judgment. You see? You need judgment. That's your only is the only cure. You see, there must be judgment. You must bear witness to the judgment of all. You must bear witness even to your own judgment, so that you could be corrected even in your judgment, right? like Ebony Maw told him in Infinity War, even in death you shall become children of Thanos. You see, even in death you shall become children of God at that, you know? You have to be judged and be transformed at some point, probably through your own death. You see? Because realization must be, like the Buddhists say, come to realization, right? You have to be brought to realization out of the insanity that is America, some kind of fucking way, right? You have to be brought to realization some kind of way. You're not going to get it from Joe Biden or Barack Obama or the Bible or these people on Sunday, you see, who are praying to Satan against the Bible with their crosses on. You see, there must be judgment. It's the only way. You see, it's the only way. You see. Let's read Ezra and then close out. Let me read Ezra. You see, and then so I can get. So I don't know if me explaining this is getting it, but let's get Ezra, the holy prophet, right? The most powerful prophet in the Bible, in my humble opinion. Now Ezra, I'm going to read the prophecy Ezra on your screen. All right, let's read that. Let's take a minute and close out on that, on the most prolific words of the prophet Ezra, right? The most holy prophet, right? Now Ezra, right, had a dream. All in case you didn't know, all prophecies in the Bible are dreams, right? Are men who had dreams. There's no remote viewing in the Bible. Generally, it all came from dreams. Now, Ezra in the dream said he met the angel. The angel Michael was his spirit guide in the dream, right? And he said, and Michael, let me highlight this and then I'll read it. And I'm going to read the judgment so you understand that a lot of you will be judged, right? The judgment, and just to understand that judgment must take place. You see, or the Bible's not real. That's what I mean. Like, so people pray against the Bible. There must be judgment or the Bible's not real. You see? Now, he said, now, what did Ezra say? He said, Michael came to him in a dream. And he said, Michael the commander said to me, he showed him a man. He said, this is he who, with his mother, for having put into practice a small wish, he has ordered to be hanged. So he showed him a man who was defiled with his mother, obviously, right? Horrible. And then he said, and then they took me to the north, and I saw there a man bound with iron chains. And I asked Michael, who is this? And he said to me, this is he who said, I am the Son of God. I make stones bread, and I make water wine. And the prophet Ezra said, my Lord, let me know what is his form, and I shall tell the race of men, that they may not believe in him. And he said to me, the form of his countenance is like that of a wild beast. His right eye is like the star that rises in the morning, and the other without motion. His mouth 1 cubit. His teeth span long. This is not a human. His fingers are like scythe. A scythe is like knives. So he's talking about something like a bear or a reptile with claws, right? And he says, the track of his feet 2 spans. This is huge, if you understand what 2 spans is, right? And on his face an inscription, Antichrist. He has been exalted to heaven, but he shall go to hell, be sent to hell, right? At one time he shall be depicted as a child, and another an old man. And the prophet Ezra said to Michael, Lord, and how do you permit him to deceive? See, the great deception that's written of in the Bible. I've heard many people speak of the great deception. They never talk about this because they're wrong and they're lying. You see, and they're worshiping Satan, the devil, the Antichrist, spoke of right here. right? And he said, how does you allow him to permit him to deceive the race of men? And God said, listen, my prophet Ezra, he has been shown as child and old man, and no one in the end shall believe that he is my beloved son. What is he talking about? He's talking about this. See? He's talking about this, the old man, right? And the child. This is what he's talking about. Baby Jesus. We all know what he's talking about. You don't need to, have a fucking theology degree to understand what he's saying. You know what he's talking about. You see, he was warning you. Right? The most relevant warning of the end times that you were going to get in the Bible, Ezra gave it to you, and people ignored it and decided to side with Satan and worship the devil with their crosses. You see? And you got to be judged for that. There is no, I'm sorry about that, my bad. Trust me, I've talked to people, like in my family, on the street, everywhere. No one cares. They don't give a fuck at all. They are praying to Satan inadvertently. They're praying against the Bible. They won't even read there are people that won't even read the prophecy of Ezra. Don't worry. You won't have to read it because it's coming to a city near you. And you're gonna see that shit in 3D, right? Let's go back to the Ezra. So he becomes child, and nobody believes he's my beloved son. You see? Child in the old man, right? And nobody believes he's my son. Jesus on the cross. Doesn't get any more satanic than, for instance, this picture right here, right? White Jesus on the cross. Doesn't get more antichrist than that. You see? You have to understand. Right? And what did he say? He said, you have to understand what Ezra was saying. What he was saying to Ezra. He said, right here, this is he who said, I am the Son of God, right? But here's the key to understanding this. Right here. That's the key to the verse. Let me know. See, Ezra was an intuitive and a psychic. Had, his dreams, had psychic dreams. You see? And in the dream, he intuitively knew there was two depictions of this being. One that was going to be public and another one that was going to be hidden. Right? Like Two-Face. You see? What is he talking about? I'll tell you. He's talking about cloaking devices. You see? He's trying to explain to you in an archaic way of cloaking devices. And I've seen this in a dream, one of my own dreams. And I'll tell you about that in a second. Right? How can someone have two forms? How can a man have two forms? Are we talking about magic? No, we're talking about technology. That's how a man can have two forms. Right? A disguise. Right? A disguise. Martin Lawrence put on a dress in, Big Mama's house. Right? It was a man who was dressed up like a woman. A disguise. How can a person have two forms? Right? So Ezra told him, let me know his true form, and I shall tell the race of men, so that they shall not believe in him. He was saying, I'm going to warn everybody. Lord, I warn everybody. Show me the future, and I'll tell them what's coming, and warn them. I'll write it down in the prophecies, and I'll warn them to beware of what's going to happen, because it's so great and intricate that they're going to miss it. So he said, what is this true form? I shall tell the race of men. He went on to describe, so he described one form, which was the Jesus Christ on the cross. The second form he described, that they push to you in these churches, in a society. The second form he described was this, right? Was what I just showed you. Was this. It's been in the Bible for 2,000 years. Hidden in plain sight. The book of Ezra is it's not secret, it's just that people don't read it. Right? Shout out to my man Big Judah for putting me up on game. Right? And when I heard and I started reading this, it clicked immediately, intuitively in my mind. Everything, because I got a photographic memory and it just started clicking. And I knew what I was looking at. I knew exactly what I was looking at when I started reading this. Right? And so I realized what was going on. That's how I know we in the end times now. Thank you, Ezra. Thank you for the warning. See, I'm going to heed the warning. A lot of people are not. They 2/3, they're going to be burnt up. There must be judgment. They must be judged. There's no way out for them. You see? They are fully alive with, their crosses and their swastikas and their flags and everything, and and their pictures of Jesus. They are fully alive with the Antichrist, knowingly or unknowingly. They fully have decided to pray for Satan and pray against the Bible. But the time's up. You're not going to make it. Your God is not going to save you anymore. You have to be judged for that. You see? Now, what does Ezra continue to say? I'm going to read it. I'm going to end on this. I'm going to end on Ezra, what he had to say. Right? So he exposes the whole Jesus Christ in the cross and all of that as being put forward by this two-faced figure who on one hand is Jesus Christ, who will be put forward as, and on the other hand, who he really is a fucking filthy alien. Right? A non-human, wicked non-human creature. You see? Who is a father of lies and a genocidal maniac and a murderer. And probably worse. Right? Who sanctions experimenting on humans and all kinds of wickedness. Right? Now, but I'm trying to finish this off, man. So let's finish off with this right here. So he described that reptilian creature. Right? Now let's end with what else Ezra. I'm gonna end with judgment. Let's end on the judgment Ezra said. He said, let's end on the judgment so you understand. Let's talk a little bit about that. Right? Because it's not it's not, like they said, it's I only want the will of God to be done. That's all. I'm just a humble servant, right? So it's not my words. I don't want people to get it wrong, like, oh, you wishing bad on me. I'm not wishing no bad on you. I want the will of God to be done. And if this be the will of God, then let it be done. See, I'm not going to pray against the Bible like a Satanist. I'm not a wicked Satanist. I'm not a wicked so-called Christian with a cross on praying against the Bible, the prophecies of the Bible. I would never do that. Never. Never. If the words of God and the Bible said, and the prophecy and the scriptures say there must be judgment, then there must be judgment. It's just the end of the story. I'm not, it said, the Bible tells you, death to any man who rewrites the words of this book. Any man that rewrites the words of this book, misinterprets it and rewrites it, shall be put to death. So I would never risk myself cursing myself and rewrite or misinterpret the words in this book. You see? And pray against it. I would never pray against the holy prophet Ezra or John or Joel. I would never pray against the Messiah of Joel or John or written in Ezra. Only a wicked agent of the Antichrist would do that. With their wicked crosses on. You see, and their fake Bibles and all of the rest of this foolishness. You see. Now let's read. Let's end on this. Let's end. Let's end on the prophecy. You see, like the Bible said, believe on me, believe on these prophecies, and believe on this law and these scriptures, as the scripture has said. Right? It didn't say just pray against the Bible. Where is that in the Bible? Where in the Bible does it say pray against the Bible? Pray against the judgment and the prophecy and the law of the Bible. Where is that written down at? See, these are wicked people. Like it says, you a bunch of wicked niggards. That's written in the Bible. I'm not being facetious. I'm not being nasty. A wicked nigger is someone in the Bible. It's described in the Bible as someone who prays against the Bible. In the Bible, a niggard is written. I'm gonna pull it up before, because I know people don't believe me. But a niggard is somebody that prays against the Bible. It's not a black person. But let's end on that. I might end on that. But let's do this first, right? So Ezra goes on. Now here's the judgment. You see, he said, and a trumpet. He said, and after this, a trumpet. So people will start to suspect that the white Jesus and the cross and all that kind of shit is fake. He said, and that's happening now, right? He said they will start to realize that it's all fake. And then he said, after that, a trumpet shall be blown, and the tombs shall be opened, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible. Right? And then it quotes Corinthians 15 and 52. He said, then the adversary, hearing the dreadful threatening, that's the prophecies, he gonna run. He's gonna start to try to shift. He knows what's gonna happen. And he said, he shall be hidden in outer space, outer darkness. That means outer space. Then then Ezra says, then the heaven and the earth and the sea shall be destroyed. And then shall I burn the heaven 80 cubits and the earth 800 cubits. And the prophet said, how has the heaven sinned? And God said, there is evil. He said, there's evil in the heavens. How could there be evil in the heavens? Oh, you got you got the space station. You got these spaceships, UFOs. You see? That's evil in the heavens. That's what he meant. See, you had to understand Ezra's archaic language. He couldn't say, hey, Ezra, it's going to be a spaceship. There's going to be space stations. There's going to be a base on Mars with a bunch of wicked-ass aliens. Right? He wasn't going to just say that. Ezra wouldn't have understood that anyway. So he said, I'm going to burn the whole heavens. See, you're going to see fires in the sky. That's what he's trying to tell you. You're going to see shit blowing up in the sky. He's going to blow that fucking space station out of the sky. Not only that, he's going to be blowing up these ships, these invisible cloaked spaceships. You think that's a cloud. You're going to see a cloud, look up and see a cloud on fire. And be like, what the fuck is that? How the fuck is those clouds on fire? And then you're going to realize it's not a cloud. It's a ship being destroyed. A reptilian craft that was camouflaged or something. That the Lord of hosts and his armies is moving in. And they're wiping this shit out. And that shit gonna fall to the ground. And people gonna come out of their houses and look and say, what the fuck is that? You see? He said, I'm gonna burn the whole heaven. You see? It's right here in the Bible. Straight out of a movie. It's right in the Bible. This is where you think they're getting all of these alien invasion movies from. They're getting it from the book of Ezra and the book of Joel and Revelations, etc. That's where they're getting it from. Like he said, they heard a dreadful threatening. But at a certain level, they think that's a joke too. Right? And he says, on account of this, I will melt the entire earth. Right? He said, I will burn the sea. And then, even on account of this, I will melt the earth. And with it, the opponent of the race of men. See, He said that these creatures and these people are your opponents. He said they are opposed to the race of men. Why would a man be opposed to it? Why would he say that if they were men? They're not men. Not all of them. See, they're not men. They're not humans. The opponent of a race of men. It's easy when you really just read it. These are not humans. They're all around you. They're not. A lot of these motherfuckers ain't humans. Some of them are hybrids. Some of them burn in the sun. You don't get it, right? And he said, and God, how has the earth sinned? And he said, how has it sinned, right? And he said, since the adversary shall be hidden in the earth, on account of this I will melt the whole earth. He's talking about underground bases. He said, I'm gonna melt the earth. How do you melt earth? I told you that in the last live I did. How do you melt earth? Go look at the eye of the Sahara in Africa. Go look at a picture of it. They used to be here. This is an old battle that's about to heat up again. This is an ancient battle. This is not a new battle. He melted the earth at the eye of the Sahara to get rid of them the first time. They came back and built pyramids in Egypt. So he said, this time I'm going to melt the whole earth again to get rid of them. Right? And he said, and with that I will kill and destroy the opponents of the race of men. And the prophet said, Lord, have mercy. Right? When Ezra, he showed Ezra all this, Ezra said, Lord, have mercy. Jesus. Right? He couldn't believe it. The level of destruction that was going to happen. Not just the earth. The heavens are going to burn. You're going to see the U.S. space station, the moon is going to burn. Where they on the moon, it's going to burn. Mars is going to burn. The base on Mars is going to burn. The moon base is going to burn. The space station is going to burn. The camouflage spaceships are going to burn and be destroyed. And turn the rubble that's going to fall down into the oceans and on your streets. There's going to be no more hidden war. The secret war with Nick Fury, right? Marvel's secret war. What do you think that's about? They're talking about this shit, right? And so you're going to see all of that. You're going to be a part of it soon, very soon. The clock is ticking, right? And so let's finish this off. And he said, I saw a woman then hanging and 4 wild beasts sucking her breasts. And the angel said to me, she grudged to give her milk, right? But even threw her infants into rivers. That's interesting when you notice how bad these women are. You know, my son, I have a son, he was abandoned by his mother. You know, it reminds me of that. You know, I had women who mistreated their children in my family. I'm not going to call out all of them. But this reminds me of that, you see. He going to punish these women, man. The Lord ain't dealing with no goddamn feminism. You see. You put your children away so that you can enjoy your life and party and be with men, you know, over top your children. You're going to pay for that and get judged for that. You see? She grudged to give her milk. He said, who is this woman, right? Hanging with 4 wild beasts sucking her breasts. And the angel said, she grudged to give her milk, but even threw her infants away into rivers. And I saw dreadful darkness and a night that had no stars or no moon, right? Nor is there young or old, nor brother with brother, nor mother with child, nor wife with husband. And I wept and said, Lord, have mercy on these sinners, on these lawbreakers, on these Satan worshippers with their crosses on, and their white Jesus pictures and their crosses, worshiping Satan the devil. He said, have mercy on them, right? It was so terrible. Ezra started to pray and scream, have mercy on them, Lord, please. Don't do it, right? And as I said this, he said, there came a cloud that snatched me up and carried me away into the heavens, and I saw many judgments, and I began to weep bitterly. And I said, it is good for a man not to have come out of his mother's womb. And those who were in torment cried out, saying, since you have come hither, O Holy One of God, we have found little remission. See, you're going to be judged. He said, when the Lord of hosts and his armies came, the people cried and said, since you showed up, right, there have been little remission for our sins. Right? Let me. I gotta get this, man. I gotta get this in. Fuck that. I was gonna end it, but nope. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna get all this in. Right? He said, this is important. See? Because I don't want people to think when I say you're gonna be judged and there's gonna be judgment, I don't want you to think, oh, this is a crazy guy. He's just being facetious. He's being mean. Why are you being so mean? You think I'm mean? You think I'm being mean? Because I'm just reading to you what's going to happen to you. Right? Most of you on this earth, most of the people on this earth, well, that ain't shit compared to what the Lord of hosts is going to do to you. If you think I'm just being facetious and mean, let's read it. What's going to happen to you. Right? He said, you're going to wish that you weren't born, most of you, when the Lord of hosts finishes with you. He says, since, let's read it again, right? Because I don't want you to think I made that up. He says, since you have come, Holy One of God. Who is he talking about? The Lord of hosts. The man y'all call Jesus Christ. He said, since you have come, this is what the people are going to say when Jesus comes. See, they paint a picture of Jesus Christ that's not real. Because they're praying against the Bible. They're praying to Satan, to the Antichrist who runs the planet, that nothing happens. You see, that he is kept in power so that they can keep doing what they're doing. And everything, I can get away with this. The days of getting away is almost up. You have to make a choice. Right? You got to make a choice. Right? Either the Antichrist, Satan the devil, or the Lord of hosts. But make sure you choose wisely, because you don't got a whole lot of time left now. It's not like 50 years ago or 100 years ago. There will be judgment. You're going to have to stand up. You're going to have to come out of your house. The TVs are going to be off. The internet is going to be off. You're going to be brought out of your houses and lined up all over this goddamn planet. Right? Everybody. And inspected. You see? And they made the answer for what you've done and what you've been doing for the past, I don't give a fuck how old you are. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. And your children is going to get judged with you. So it don't matter if they babies or whatever. You will all be judged. The parents' judgment going to fall on the children. There will be no one spared judgment. Why do I know this? Because I just read it. Because Ezra said it, and I believe Ezra. I don't believe niggers. That's one thing for sure. I would never believe a nigger that don't read all of the scriptures and the prophecies and don't care. That's somebody I would never listen to. That's for sure. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't care if you mad. I don't care if you don't want to talk to me. Or none of that. I would never listen to you. Why? Because I know you're ignorant of the facts. You're ignorant of what's written in the books. And you shouldn't, if you're a person that knows better, you shouldn't listen to them either. And don't care what they think about you. Because their time is short now. There must be judgment. See? And he says, since you have come hither, Holy One of God, we have found little remission. And the prophet said, blessed are they that weep for their sins. You see? He said, blessed will be the ones that give it up and weep for their sins and repent. You see? And turn away from the Antichrist. And turn away from the beast. And stop praying to the beast. You see? He said, blessed are them. That's what Ezra said, right? And then he said, and God, hear, O beloved Ezra, a husbandman cast the seed of grain into the ground, so also the man cast the seed into the parts of the woman. Increase the size. I'm gonna end it on that, right? Right after that, Ezra dies, but I'm not gonna get into all that. I'm gonna end it on that, right? It was something I said I was gonna end on. I'm gonna go to. No, you know what? I'm a rap. I got a rap. I've been on here for a while. I'm gonna get some heat. But so just to in closing, I read that because I wanted people to understand that I'm not being facetious when I say you pray to the Antichrist. You pray to Satan. You're praying against the Bible, right? Now you can continue to do that. Good luck, but you're running out of time. And there will be no, you're running out of time. I'm not like, oh, I'm trying to save your soul. I don't give a damn about that. I'm just telling you, what I mean? This is just something I like. I just like to do this. I like to read these prophecies and these different things, right? And go over them. And just talk about what I see in society. Right? Now if somebody gets something from it, awesome. If they don't, I don't care. It's just saying like, just like a bird sings. This is something I'm doing. Right? So when I say you're praying to Satan, you see? You're worshiping Satan, the Antichrist, knowingly or unknowingly. I'm not being facetious. It's a fact. It's written in the book of Ezra. At this point, to me, it's a fact. Right? When I read Ezra, that when I see this, I know that you're a Satanist, that you're a follower of the Antichrist. And I know that that's the Antichrist. Why? I know that because Ezra said it was. And I believe Ezra. I don't believe wicked niggards. Right? When I see your cross, I know that you're a follower of the Antichrist. I know that you're a Satanist. Right? I know what's deep in your heart. I know what your motivations are. You see? I know who you are, right? When I see your swastika and you burning crosses, I know who you are. I know that that's a sacrifice to Satan, the devil. That cross you're burning has nothing to do. It's just another swastika. It has nothing to do with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name changed to Israel and begat the 12 ancient bloodlines that spread across the planet. You see? And you should know too, right? You should know too. You see. So on that, I'm a wrap, man. I've been on for a while. I gotta run. So on that, that's all I got on that for now.